Hello, Cleric here again. Kind of going over what I'm going to find uh, things that I'm having fun, or things that I think are enjoyable, or things I find actually working in Armor Core 6 since the most recent patch. There's a lot of things in the game right now as far as people are considering the meta shakeups. Obviously, Zimmermans are still pretty good, although they're not the meta breaking thing they were before. Missile boats took a pretty severe hit in general with the apparative changes. Although you are seeing missile rats seeing kind of a resurgence with the change of speed. There's a lot of things you're going to see here. So I kind of want to just cover a few things that I would think you should try, or you should pay attention to, or just kind of give a shot. This patch really shook a lot of things up in this game as a whole. And I think there's some obvious things from the patch notes themselves, but maybe not as clear, or maybe people don't understand the implications, or they kind of like their play styles, and so maybe they're going to adjust. But I just want to show a few things off to you to kind of get a feel for some of the things. So one of the first things I'm going to show off here is the linear rifles. The linear rifles are, with the change in the charge attack power, on specifically the Harris, they decrease how long it takes to charge both of these. They reduce the recoil on the Curtis, so they're easier to fire in a quick succession. These are very viable things now. So to kind of give you a feel for them a little bit, see how fast the charge time is on that Curtis? It's crazy. When you go the Harris and just boom, you get the stun. They're very good now. The linear rifles, I think, especially with the way netcode works in the game currently, they are what you're going to call your medium to long range viable items, and you're going to be seeing more and more of them, I think, in the game, especially with recent changes. So if you haven't given linear rifles a shot, or maybe you liked them before and maybe you just didn't see them as useful as other things like lasers, for example, though lasers are still very strong. I don't think I need to mention the fact that you should try lasers in this game. Lasers are strong, and that has not changed because they weren't really adjusted down at all. Though those of you who are major laser enthusiasts, don't be surprised if the next balance patch includes a little bit of a tempering on the laser weapons. I imagine that's probably coming here in the near future. So yeah, linear rifles are great. So something else that I am having a lot of fun using is the VP60LTs, or also known as the laser turrets. These things are a little nutty. When I was doing my first reaction, if you look at my live stream where I'm trying out the changes, I was testing these things, and I was wonderfully delighted about how good they are. They are somewhat positional. They are kind of situational. You can't just get away from them, but if you can play them smartly on a pretty fast or mobile build, there's actually a lot of things you can do with these. They do a ton of damage. So to kind of give you a feel for just how damaging they are, we're going to get this guy into stagger. So let's just pop 2 out right now and see how it looks. Now they increase how they last for 10 seconds now instead of 7. And they did increase how often they fire and hit things. So with 10 seconds there and a 5-second reload, you can technically have up to close to 12 at once if you have both sets going at the same time. So we'll just pop 2 more sets here, going to 4. You can see the damage output on them is pretty good, and you also can see the ACS buildup on just having them by themselves is pretty good. And then you saw how much damage the the staggered version does. So if you throw something like this that has like a pretty light build, we're gonna go pop turret, pop turret, pop turret, get it staggered, pop out more, and watch the health just melt. You see that? Like I said, now these do not move, but they have a fairly decent effective range. That actually, if I go, let's go out to let's say 180 here. They hit, they don't ricochet, they still do some work. And you can like surround and go a distance. You can come back over here and pop some more. As you go a little fast, you can pop here, you can pop here, get them staggered, do the damage. These things are a ton of fun. And let me be honest with you, we did a little bit of 3v3s where everyone had turrets for a while just to see what it looked like. And the laser light show was amazing. So if you kind of just ignored these, I think a lot of people did because of how much worse they were compared to other orbit options. Give the laser turrets a try. They're great. So one other change that was big was the Hoshi. They increased this thing a bunch. The Hoshi energy capacity went from 2710 to 3160, and its energy firearm spec went from 70 to 90. this generator is great now. I think it has like the 4th highest capacity, maybe it's 5th, and its energy and its firearm spec is not as respectable too. I mean, a lot of other ones are lower as far as the lighter ones go. It's a great lighter option for generator to kind of go in and keep your options, but still have a decent amount of capacity. I've seen these get used more and more. I know people just kind of live or die by coral generators or Sentai, but if you don't have the room for a Sentai that is like 10,000 in weight and has a much lower output because you need more output, for example, slightly less energy spec, you need quite as good post recovery, and you have to go with like the even heavier version of this. Yeah, the Hoshi is good. So if you're looking for something to fit into your build or add to your generator repertoire, I definitely would include this. So that gives you your first few options. The next thing I want to talk about is this terminal armor. Now, this is a little bit debatable. Some people have said how bad terminal armor was, even with an increase from 2 seconds to 5 seconds, isn't enough of an increase. I wholeheartedly disagree. This game is very much centered around getting that edge, getting that win, either via explosion or just a slight increase. If you're going into and you see someone who's really low on AP and you make a last minute, or so we say, all right, I'm going to burst him down here and get done, not realizing he has terminal armor, and you went and just unloaded your full barrage to get the rest of his AP down, and all of a sudden you see, boom, terminal armor gets popped. Before, 2 seconds was nothing, and you can pretty much just ignore it and win. 5 seconds is actually long enough for someone to mount a slight counter offensive and either go on the offense themselves and try to blow you up instead, or even get away and try to pick their spot, although probably not as good of an option for terminal armor. This actually is a respectable option now. I've seen terminal armor in my own personal experience since the patch, and I've seen other people run it, and I've actually seen them save their bacon and actually end up winning a few times in this game. So if you don't think 5 seconds is a good enough time, I'd recommend giving them a shot. And in giving them a shot, kind of take a little bit of a chance on them to see if maybe they're just a little bit better than you realize. I think a lot of people just think because pulse armor is the obvious or assault armor is the obvious that this is not an option. But if you're like me, when you run pulse armor and you keep constantly forgetting that you have it, and or you use it too late or at the wrong time, this is basically I'm about to die, give me 5 seconds to go nuts and see if I can win. If that's more your play style, this might fit it right for you. And then we get to the last thing. I'm just going to call it explosive weapons. That's all I'm going to call it. Now, I realize missiles are explosive and a lot of them are pretty good, but in all reality, explosive weapons. They increase their projectile speed. They lower their reload time. Some of these things are a little crazy. And in all honesty, I'm with the way the netcode works right now, they are very reliable damage. Like they're very reliable damage. And it's a little nutty sometimes as far as how it works. So let me just bust out a couple of these dizzies just so you can see how they feel. So I've seen actually wheelchairs using quad zooks. I'm doing the grenade launchers for example, but they fire. Look at that stagger, and look ready, already back. Now, what's really cool about these, for example, these specific grenade launchers, they don't have to hit. They blow up at their effective range. Or even they can make all the way to you, they actually can do it based on distance. That actually didn't go far enough, but it still blew up and hit them. So you actually can use it like they're like proximity explode. They do some awesome stuff. But let me actually go to the build what people are using right now that people are actually having a lot of success. They go, because of the reload time, they're going with the Majestic, but you also could potentially go with the Javelin Alpha. Well, I like this as a whole, so let me just kind of pick this one just as a reference, and I'll pick up the other ones back. Go back to the Zon. The Zonjier use a lot just because they are very fast reload. We go in, we get that pop, swap, go back, swap back again. It's almost time for them again. Now, technically, what you could do is a cool option with this is you actually can do the reload tech with bazookas to stop, because you can quick boost cancel the animation. They actually get them fired faster. You can go fire the second one even faster, do it again, reload second one even faster. this is something you're seeing a lot of, and this one's already back. You go back and do it again, swap back over, and boom, you're done. And it just, bazookas are just insane. The ear shots, those who know, I'm already a big fan of the ear shot in the first place. They lowered the reload speed on ear shot, and they kind of nerfed slightly the songbirds. Bazookas are just good now. If you can be on like a Tetra and keep your firing stance going, or on a tank or on a wheelchair and just kind of keep moving, this is ridiculously devastating. It was it's a little nutty, to be honest with you. Now it's not, I don't think it's completely imbalanced in all honesty. The netcode does kind of favor him a little too heavily in my opinion, but that being said, there's a lot of other things that also favor that, and this is somewhat situational. If you have someone who's really fast and good at keeping their distance, this still won't work very well against them in general. So for those of you maybe just ignored bazookas, like, oh, even though they increased the projectile speed, they didn't increase it enough. Oh, even though they reduced the reload speed, they didn't reduce it enough. Trust me, you're making a mistake with these things. The bazookas are awesome. So there you have it. You have the linear rifles you should give a shot to, the laser turrets you should give a shot to, the Hoshi generator, add to your repertoire for options for building, thermal armor, give it a shot so you actually think, and then your bazookas and grenade launchers. Those are the things from the patch that I would recommend you giving a shot if you haven't already. I'm not going to do it's not a sleeper thing. This is just things that were directly changed from it. Oh, I almost forgot something that I can't necessarily recommend yet. I have to get better with it and maybe kind of get a good feel for it. But the explosive thrower is a ton of fun now. We'll throw some the explosive weapon. So they increased the effective range, they reduced the reload time, and it's it the thing is just funny. It also increased the amount of rounds it had, and you can just, the thing is hilarious. Like how fast you can look. There's one. Let's do it again. Do it again. Do it again. This is so good in 3v3s, by the way. This is amazing in 3v3s, just like the laser turrets are. But this is like, let's do it from 200 meters just to kind of show you. This is the charge version. Boom. 1,000 damage and like over half their stagger bar. And look at the sustained stagger on it. It stays for so long. And look how fast that recharges. No, that's too far away. I would say 250, at 260. But yeah, the explosive weapons, like the explosive thrower, grenades, bazooka, they're all awesome. So yeah, give them a shot. These are the things I recommend you give a shot from the update and changes. They're worth trying again. This patch did amazing things for the balance in the game as a whole. There's still some things to be worked on, but honestly, this does make a huge difference in this game. I think it's definitely heading in the right direction as far as balance goes. All right. Thank you all for appreciate. If you stuck around for this long, please like and subscribe. There's information below if you want to join our Discord. It's a great place to hang out and have some fun playing PvP. And also, be a member if you want to. If not, it's your money. But also as a reminder, there is a tournament coming up. A link will be in the description for that below too. Coming up here on the 14th. It is using our, we're calling our proprietary ratio system. It's not really proprietary because we're going to open source it here eventually so anyone can use it if they want to. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.